Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, something kind of crazy is happening. There is an eruption from the world's largest volcano, which is located in Hawaii, and this hasn't happened since 1984. It's coming at a very interesting time. There's a lot of interesting details that go along with this. So, this is just another sign of the times, and let's just get into it. So, the name by the way, this came to me from Patty Joe Stanaway. So thank you, Patty Joe, for sending me the email and informing me of this. The name of this volcano is Mauna Loa. According to the Wikipedia article, it is one of 5 volcanoes that form the island of Hawaii in the U.S. state of Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean. The largest subaerial volcano, which just means on land rather than an undersea volcano like the one that hit Tonga earlier this year in January. So it's the largest subaerial volcano in both mass and volume. Mauna Loa has historically been considered the largest volcano on Earth, dwarfed only by Tamu Massif. Okay, so probably not the best sign when the world's largest volcano starts erupting, and it hasn't happened for a long time. I wanted to look into what the hazards were for this. So down here it says Hawaiian type eruptions usually produce extremely slow moving flows that advance at walking pace, presenting little danger to human life, but this is not strictly the case. Mauna Loa's 1950 eruption emitted as much lava in 3 weeks as Kilauea's recent eruption produced in 3 years, and reached sea level within 4 hours of its start, overrunning the village of Ho'okena Mauka and a major highway on the way there. The earlier eruption in 1926 overran the village of Ho'opuloa Makai and Hilo, I don't know how you pronounce that, partly built on lavas from the 1881 eruption, is at risk from future eruptions. The 1984 eruption nearly reached the city but stopped short after the flow was redirected by upstream topography. So, again, this 1984 eruption, this is the last one, and now we have this going on right now today. Now here's the other thing, and this is a little bit scary, and I'm not saying that this is happening, obviously, but it says a potentially greater hazard at Mauna Loa is a sudden massive collapse of the volcano's flanks, like the one that struck the volcano's west flank between 100,000 and 200,000 years ago and formed the present-day Kealakekua Bay. For my foreign viewers that maybe English, you don't have all the words down, the flank, that's like the sides of the volcano. Okay, deep fault lines are a common feature on Hawaiian volcanoes, allowing large portions of their flanks to gradually slide downwards and forming structures like the Helena Slump and the ancient Ninole Hills. Large earthquakes could trigger rapid flank collapses among these lines, creating massive landslides, and possibly triggering equally large tsunamis. Undersea surveys have revealed numerous landslides along the Hawaiian chain and evidence of 2 such giant tsunami events. 200,000 years ago, Molokai experienced a 75-meter tsunami, and 100,000 years ago, a mega tsunami, 325 meters, which is 1,066 feet high, struck Lanai. A more recent example of the risks associated with the slumps occurred in 1975, when the Helena slump suddenly lurched forward several meters, triggering a 7.2 earthquake and a 14-meter or 46-foot tsunami that killed 2 campers at Halape. So, these are some of the things that we're looking at. I guess some of the worst case scenarios. Hopefully, it's just like it says up here that the flow will be slow. In fact, right now, well, I'm about to get into the actual news articles. Right now, it seems like it's staying within the summit area. Um, okay, so let me just read this. Okay, let me just read it. Okay, so this is NBC News. World's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa, erupts in Hawaii. Mauna Loa erupted at 11:30 p.m. local time Sunday. Now, let me just stop right there. I'm not 100% saying that this is anything significant, but what is 11:30 p.m.? Well, you might call that almost midnight. You might just call that almost midnight, and on Sunday, no less. So, those are two interesting little data points. Make of that what you will. May not mean anything, but the U.S. Geological Survey said it was the first eruption since 1984, according to the Hawaii Volcano Observatory Daily Update. The eruption began in Moku Awio, the summit caldera of Mauna Loa, inside Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, the agency said, as it upgraded the volcano's alert level from an advisory to a warning. Quote, at this time, lava flows are contained within the summit area and are not being threatened are not threatening downslope communities. Winds may carry volcanic gas and possibly fine ash and Peely's hair downwind, it said, referring to a type of lava. Here's a picture of it. Residents at risk from Mauna Loa lava flows were advised to, quote, review preparedness and refer to Hawaii County Civil Defense information for further guidance. Based on past events, the early stages of Mauna Loa eruption can be very dynamic, and the location in advance of lava flows can change rapidly, the agency warned. It said that if the eruption remains in Moku Awio, lava flows would most likely be contained. However, if the eruption vents migrate outside its walls, lava flows may move rapidly downslope, it said. So if you're in this area, please monitor this situation and just be very careful. That would be awful. That'd be a horrible way to die. So please take care to just watch this. The most recent eruption follows weeks of warnings from officials that an eruption was possible given a recent spike in earthquakes at the volcano summit, in that residents of the Big Island should be prepared to evacuate. Only time will tell what's going to happen. The USGS previously said that heightened unrest began in mid-September. So this is another interesting time frame. Why? Well, if you've been watching the channel at least since September, you know that September was just loaded with all sorts of interesting things that happened. On the 5th of September, the sun had a huge CME, coronal mass ejection. It was facing away from the Earth, but they say that they're going to study it for years. 3 days later, Queen Elizabeth dies, which was, for me, it was a huge event just because she's been the queen my entire life, and probably for most of you. She was also the longest reigning monarch, only behind this one French king, but it was because he became king when he was like a child, basically. So for all intents and purposes, she really was the longest reigning monarch, and the longest one for sure in British history. So it's interesting that happened, and then the day after that, President Nelson becomes the oldest prophet and apostle of this dispensation. And then the day after that, we had the largest earthquake of the year. I haven't checked since this time, so I don't know if there's been any larger earthquakes since that time. But up until that point, it was the largest earthquake of the year. What else happened? I can't even remember. There was so much. But basically, there were kind of a lot of things pointing to this month, and in this particular month was the end of the Jewish sabbatical year. It ended on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the Hebrew New Year. So this ended the sabbatical year. Okay, and basically, from a Jewish perspective, we've moved from Saturday, the Saturday of years, into Monday. Or no, sorry, into Sunday comes after Saturday, into Sunday. So it's an interesting way to look at it. And I've wondered if maybe this Hebrew year would be the year that Christ would come, because it would be the year or the day of his resurrection, right? Because he was resurrected on a Sunday. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Um, oh yeah, it was at this time that this last week of September that they were doing the referendum vote. These four provinces of Ukraine to join Russia. That was finished on Friday, and then on Yom Kippur, according to Russia and its legal process, they annexed those four regions, which I think we're still seeing how that's going to play out, this Ukraine war. But I think that this was a very pivotal moment in the war, because it's probably going to dictate what's going to happen next. During this time, in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, is when we had the General Conference, where President Nelson asked us to become the people of the Second Coming, and then he showed us Christ coming down out of the sky in his last talk. He announced 18 temples. I'm not going to go into the whole 1718 thing again, but just as a reminder for those of you that know. And yeah, so gosh, I wish I remember all the things that happened in September, but this just add another one to the list, that the world's largest volcano started showing signs in September. Okay, heightened unrest. Weird, so weird. Um, and I guess I should also point out, it was during this conference that President Nelson said that between now and when Christ comes again, the world's looking to see the mightiest manifestations of the Savior's power that it's ever seen. He said a similar thing before, but this time, like back in, I think 2018, if I remember right. But this time it was a lot more specific. And what's interesting is he said that on a Sunday, and the very next week, or the very next Sunday, a week later, we observed the largest explosion ever recorded. It was in space. It was from a what was it? GRB, gamma ray burst, which is essentially it's basically a supernova, but it's the largest one ever recorded. So the largest explosion ever was observed 1 week after President Nelson said that. And I know that to some of you, that's not very incredible. It's not very exciting. And yes, it happened billions of years ago, according to modern day astronomy. And we know that light travels, it takes a long time for light to travel from very distant places like that. So it happened many, many, many millions of years ago. But we observed it on that day, a week after President Nelson said that. And now, um, fast forward to the end of November, today's the 28th, we have this going on. And I don't know, maybe this will all go without incident. We'll just have to wait and see what actually happens. But it's probably not the best thing to be happening right now, when all of us are on such a heightened alert when it comes to the second coming. You know, let's continue reading. Okay. I lost the place. Um, okay, Ken Hahn of the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory had said the earthquakes mainly occurred to. Okay, wait, no, I better. Okay. So the USGS previously said that heightened unrest began in mid-September, when earthquakes beneath the summit increased from 10 to 20 per day to 40 to 50 per day. That unrest prompted Hawaii Volcano National Park to close the summit backcountry until further notice, it reported. Ken Hahn of the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory had said the earthquakes mainly occurred due to the weight of the mountain slowly sliding toward the ocean, KHNL reported. So I'm sure that they would have put it in the article if they felt there was a heightened risk of like a big landslide. But I think it's interesting that they at least put this, that the earthquakes were probably caused by this shift, the slow sliding toward the ocean. So I mean, if there is like a big landslide, and it causes as a tsunami, then wow, that's going to be something else. Again, we're talking about this location right here. Okay, it's basically this entire area. If you can see my mouse, it's a really big volcano. All right, what else? Um, the volcano, whose name means long mountain, covers half of the island, according to the USGS. Prior to its most recent eruption, it erupted 33 times, beginning in 1843, making it among the world's most active volcanoes. It is one of 6 volcanoes in the state of Hawaii, according to the agency. Quote, Hawaiian lava flows have rarely caused human fatalities, but they can cause extensive damage by covering, burning, and crushing anything in their paths, or starting secondary fires, according to the agency, which adds that interactions between water and lava, quote, can also sometimes be explosive in coastal environments. End quote. In the volcano's northeast flank, when the volcano's northeast flank erupted in 1984, residents had time to prepare as the eruption occurred in a higher slope area and took longer for the lava to travel towards the town of Hilo. The town, located in the island's northeast region and home to the Hilo International Airport, former Hawaii County Mayor Harry Kim, who was the civil defense administrator at the time, told KHNL that eruption lasted 3 weeks, according to the USGS. Let's take a look at this. Where's Hilo? Hilo is over here. So, I mean, look at that. The lava can go this way. It can, I mean, I don't know. And then you see all these like towns right here. I don't know exactly where the lava flows would go. Just looking at this, it looks like maybe these ones would probably be at risk, maybe. Honau Nau Napupu. Kiokia. Captain Cook. So, okay. Let's go to CNN really quick. I know. Okay, people with respiratory illness should remain indoors to avoid inhaling the ash particles, and anyone outside should cover their mouth and nose with a mask or cloth. The Honolulu office warned. Possible harm to crops and animals, minor equipment and infrastructure damage, reduced visibility, widespread cleanup may be necessary. Ashfall can damage vehicles and buildings, contaminate water supplies, disrupt sewage and electrical systems, and damage or kill vegetation, the Weather Service says, while abrasive volcanic ash can irritate eyes and lungs. Look at this picture right here. Does this not look apocalyptic to you? That looks terrifying. There are a few other, if you go on Twitter, there's a bunch more photos that you can find, and just like a blood red sky. That is frightening. It really is frightening. Okay, red hues from the eruption illuminated Monday's pre-dawn sky, according to footage captured at the Kailua Bay and Pier by Matthew Liano, a resident of South Kona, along the Big Island's west coast. Quote, the glow is like nothing I've seen here living in Kona for most of my life. So I'm sure that if you're living there, you're probably having thoughts, of the second coming. I know that I do whenever there's weird stuff going on in the sky, or there's different things happening. I mean, if you're there, it probably feels very much like the end times when you're looking at this at nighttime. Mauna Loa, which covers half the island of Hawaii, has erupted 33 times since 1843, the volcano's first well-documented historical eruption, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It last erupted in 1984, making this prolonged quiet period the volcano's longest in recorded history. So I don't know if that makes it more dangerous, but that's interesting to note, that it's been a big, long, quiet period. And you know what's interesting about that is that when you come to the phrase tracker, we've noted over and over and over again that with a lot of these terms, like, let's see, let me see if I can find a good example. You have to kind of look at these one by one. But, just for example, let's look at this as his church. No, all you need to do is just be able to see the red. Typically with all these second coming terms, you have a big spike in the 70s. Sometimes it goes from the late 60s to the early 80s. Okay, this is like the time frame. And then it goes quiet, relatively speaking, for a while, and then it picks back up over the last few years. So essentially, it's like this volcano kind of follows that pattern in a way. Loud in the early 80s, quiets down for a long time, and then picks back up this year. Interesting. Okay. Is there anything else? Can't remember if I highlighted anything. Okay. The U.S. Geological Survey initially said the lava was contained to the caldera, but within 2 hours of the start of the eruption, residents on the Kona side of the volcano recorded images that appeared to show lava starting to flow down the mountain. Okay, where's the Kona side? Is this it right here? Kailua Kona. I guess that's the Kona side. I've tried to find those pictures or videos, and I haven't found any. Except for I think this one right here. This guy says, Tom George, view from Saddle Road of lava from Mauna Loa volcano eruption as of 1:30 a.m. Hawaii County Civil Defense working to confirm if any lava has flowed outside the summit caldera. So I don't know. I guess they're looking into that. Because again, if it starts flowing down, then there's obviously potentially people that are in danger from that. On Twitter, the USGS said, quote, "There are some reports now that lava is overtopping the caldera to the south. We're working to confirm those reports, but eruptive events continue to be confined to the caldera for now." So on the south side over here. Okay. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all for this one. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I feel like this is pretty noteworthy. Pray for the people that live in this area, that their life and land and property will be protected, and hopefully this just stays confined to this area, to the caldera. All right, that's it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys.